In this class we want to talk about organising for quality. Now we're going to look at quality improvement teams more specifically, and we're going to look at the roles for quality improvement teams. Now, in addition to solving quality problems, quality improvement teams help provide a means of participation for employees in quality decision making. So quality improvement teams gets more people involved in quality and raises the awareness of quality, the critical importance of quality in modern business. So it alerts employees to the importance of quality. It also is an aid to employee development. For example, problem solving skills or leadership or motivation. It can indicate where employee development is required, and it can indicate the type of material that should be covered in training sessions. So it can be very specific because it knows what the employees understand by quality, it knows their orientation, it knows what they think about, how they go about it, it knows where there are shortfalls in standards and what is required. So it can make very detailed recommendations for training programs. It leads to quality awareness, which is essential, as I said earlier, for organizational cultural change. It's essential that the employees are aware of the critical importance of quality in today's world. Customers require good quality. They require good design. They desire durability, value for money, after sales care service. They require customer relations management. They require quality from the company. So the world has changed and is progressively changing. It's becoming more competitive. There's the onset of globalization. Well, not the onset, it's been running now for some time, but it's quite a severe form of competition, and companies must deal with that, and they must deal with existing companies that are located in the indigenous market, in the home country, who are also fighting for space in the marketplace. So quality is one very important tool that the organizations use. Now, the types of quality improvement teams. Well, we have project teams. That's when, as we'll see in a moment, when personnel from different departments come together to work on particular projects, to make recommendations to the organization. And we also have what's known as quality circles. Very briefly, what this means is that personnel at all ranks, from the line operators through to departmental heads, all of them meet perhaps once a week for perhaps an hour and chat about quality issues. The outcomes of the chat are then recorded and summarized, and that may form the basis for subsequent chats the following week and the following week after that, until eventually recommendations come out and suggestions come out how to deal with quality and how to improve quality awareness within the organization. Now, project team characteristics to start. Well, project team, the teams address key organizational issues. So these teams are looking at key organizational issues. For example, concurrent engineering, looking at how engineering perhaps within an engineering plant is conducted. What are the ways in which teams can come together, bringing different skills to bear on particular problems. So it's not just a question of one team working on the project, trying to solve all of the issues and getting advice from someone else. It's a team where different people will be involved. Now, the same could apply, we talk about concurrent engineering, but the same could apply in accountancy, where when an accountant is dealing with a very tricky set of accounts, one which is very complicated to deal with. Nothing perhaps wrong, nothing illegal or nothing of that nature, just complicated. a complicated set of accounts because of the nature of the business or because of the accounting practice that was pursued. And in that case, the accountant may work better as a part of a team, and the accounts may be dealt with more appropriately in the context of a team. There may also be teams to look at, say, accreditation and look at validating their whole emphasis on quality, say through the ISO 9000 implementation and going through all of the requirements of the ISO 9000 to become to achieve the status, perhaps is the better way of putting it, to achieve the status of that qualification. Generally speaking, membership is mandatory. Generally speaking, people are not asked to volunteer for these. They're put into these groups. Asking for volunteers is just a luxury that perhaps many organisations don't have. They don't have the time, the effort. They haven't got time to persuade people or to sell the idea. They need the problem fixed, and the employees are the logical place to look for solutions. So the employees are stakeholders of the business. They have an interest in the business because that's what pays them a salary. So generally speaking, it's not optional. Generally speaking, it is mandatory, the membership. So they are allocated to the teams. But generally speaking, teams tend to be temporary in nature. They're working on particular problems. When the problem's solved, there's no need for the team. It'll disband and perhaps be broken up, and the members will move into other teams dealing with other issues. It's good for morale for the personnel in many respects because it means they have a more varied working life, and it's more interesting. So it's better for them in terms of their working conditions and the interest they have at work. By and large, participation is cross-functional. Some teams may have engineers and may have accountants and managers, and it may have a whole variety of people involved. Team leaders have varying degrees of authority. The organisation will look towards having a leader for the teams, a spokesperson, but by and large the teams can be composed of various personnel from within the organisation. It depends on the problem that's under consideration as to what the precise constitution of the team is. But the members of the team may have varying authority. It may be the case that the accountant, for example, has a bigger say because the accountant knows what the finances are. It could be that the project manager has the biggest say because he or she knows what's required in terms of overall resources, in terms of the physical resources that are available and the ones which can be tapped into, and so on. So the team leader and the team leaders will have varying degrees of authority. There may be individual members of the team who are just ordinary members of the team, but at the same time will have certain authority because they have a certain expertise that the team requires. Now, the concurrent engineering project teams, well, concurrent processes are carried out by multifunctional product development teams. This means that teams from many functions of the business may come together and work on a particular process. It's intended to replace sequential development process. In the past, the project would start with one particular part of the organization, go through various processes, and then move to the next department where it was again processed and moved on to the next department until finally it was finished. It was sequential, one after the other. Concurrent means the team may work on it from start to finish. and it may not physically move out of one department. It may stay in the department, and the whole team are involved in producing the final product. They tend to avoid potential quality problems by integrating upstream, they're integrating new product development, and downstream, which deals with products after they're launched. It deals with these functions in the preliminary design phase. So what happens is that it integrates upstream and downstream functions in the preliminary stage. The teams are able to look at new product development, new ideas, and it also deals with existing products and perhaps modifying the existing products, perhaps looking towards innovating based on the experiences of working with existing products. So it's concurrent, and that means that quality is looked at right throughout the process from start to finish. Now, quality circle characteristics, well, usually these are voluntary groups, so different. These are voluntary, not mandatory. Usually 6 to 8, maybe 10 members, around that number, not too big, and they're invited along perhaps to one of the offices on one lunchtime every week to sit and have their lunch and chat about issues that have arisen and look at solutions, and someone will try to capture what's been said and make notes, and very brief notes, just points, and this may form the basis for subsequent discussions. They're semi-permanent. Members of the group may come and go, but a group may have a particular interest. The quality circle may focus in on distribution and logistics, or it may focus in on stores management, or it may focus in on the accounts department, or on marketing, on the marketing department and the functioning of the marketing department. So it looks at particular issues and tries to come up with suggestions and ideas to improve the processes within those departments. Generally speaking, the teams are from single functional departments. So the logistics issue I mentioned, well, the team, the quality circle there would come from the logistics department. If it was looking at the processes in marketing, it would be made up from marketing personnel who would, as I said, go off to the office, one of the offices aside, and perhaps have their lunch and chat and talk about issues. Very informal, but at the same time looking at suggestions and looking at ideas for improvement. And all the members of the group have equal status, and really they select their own project. They select what they're going to talk about, what issues need to be addressed, and what ideas they've got, and they're just dealing with issues in a very open and casual way. But over a period of time, that can constitute a very important development for the business. There's minimum pressure to solve problems with a set time frame. Nobody pressurizes them to come up with solutions or to come up with ideas. The ideas emerge. They emerge over discussions and the chat, and looks at ideas from the past weeks and tries to get some sort of theme running through and come up with suggestions. Very gentle, but at the same time very important. Now, implementing quality circles. Well, quality circles require top management support. They should be approved of by the top management. The top management should know that the quality circles exist, and that they are in a sense resourced, that they have got space to meet, and they have got some time to meet every week, let's say, and talk about issues, and if they need some equipment, perhaps pens and paper, overhead projector material or the use of a laptop or whatever, that should be made available. There's no force here, there's no coercion, but it should be condoned and approved and supported by top management. The personal characteristics of facilitators are critical. Facilitators will be a person who is with the quality circle and again is somewhat aloof, not pressurizing anyone, but at the same time encouraging discussion, encouraging ideas, and keeping the conversation flowing, keeping the ideas flowing, and making notes and going back to previous weeks when certain ideas were discussed and see how they all fit together. So the facilitator is a very important person that can keep the momentum running. Scope of the project needs to be small enough to be capably addressed by the team. They don't want to deal with big sophisticated problems. These are issues that need to be dealt with by highly experienced and highly trained individuals. Quality circle teams are best suited to small issues, day-to-day issues, looking at the running of the department, looking at production, looking at the processes within the organization, looking at the product itself and making some recommendations. Small and kept small. The success of other teams has positive peer pressure effects. If there are other quality circle teams coming up with ideas that are being implemented and they're getting praise for their contribution, it can be competitive. So other quality circle teams will try harder. They're trying to come up with ideas, they're thinking about it. It's like a problem they're trying to solve. They don't know what the problem is. The problem is trying to improve efficiency or trying to improve quality. But they're thinking laterally. They're thinking in a variety of ways and trying to come up with some suggestions which will be adopted. Implementation. Well, Japan was very highly successful in using quality circles, and they were amongst the first. The Japanese benefited from the outflow of personnel dealing with quality at the end of the Second World War. A lot of them went to Japan because the Japanese welcomed them, whereas traditional industrialists and business people did not see quality as a major issue. It was mass production was the name of the game. So Japan developed a reputation for very high quality products, and they were very keen on anything related to quality. So they had very widely publicized quality circles. They made the competitors and other countries aware of the fact that they were using quality circles to try and improve their performance internally, improve their efficiency, improve the quality of the products. So Japan, in a sense, led the world on this one. And there were product development teams. It wasn't just for one person to come up with a new idea. There was a whole team of people involved who would criticize the idea and see the problems and try to fix the problems and come up with new ideas and new designs, and it was teamwork. In the US there was very marginal success. It was not part of the culture really. In the US they were more interested in mass production, making many items and getting them out for sale. So there was less emphasis on quality. So product development teams have succeeded more so than quality circle teams. So in the US, product development teams were seen as very important, but the quality team and this approach to developing quality was not pushed forward in America at the end of the Second World War. Since then, throughout the 60s and the 70s, the problems of quality have come back to haunt many companies in the West, in America and in Europe. And now there's much more emphasis on the need for quality. And now customers are very much aware of quality attributes and value for money. So that's our brief discussion of quality circles and the importance of quality circles. And that's all we're going to deal with in this session. So thank you for watching.